Hello, so we are into module 4, risky business, rewiring risk and return. So this week we're going to be looking at exploring the 5 capitals framework, trying to really broaden our perspective on value and how value is perceived within our economy. We're going to be exploring new approaches on valuation, and we're going to be looking underneath that to think about systems, data, and also impact. So we all know that old adage, what gets measured gets managed. So what does data mean in that context, and how does that data and information interact with systems, transparency, and valuation beyond pure economic value into our wider sense and understanding around capitals? Now, what I find really fascinating about this module is also just moving beyond the kind of systemic and data-driven conversations around risk to really unpick and look behind the human side of valuation. And so when you get into your small discussion groups this week, one of your graded activities, I'd really love to understand and think about how you would think about the decision making that goes behind those investment decisions and that sense of valuation. So how us as wise, thoughtful change agents and sustainable finance professionals take that data, interact with those systems, put a mental model around what we think about valuation and capital in order to drive really thoughtful decision making around investments and finances. And that could be both through our day jobs, through financial services, through the budgets and the financial management that we control within our day jobs, or for those of you who don't work in the investment space day in, day out, but are coming into the course with curiosity around financial management. Think about your own financial context. So how you might interact with your pension, for example, the information that you use when you think about selecting a mortgage, or your kind of view on this system and this sense of capital as a customer. It brings some really fascinating conversation. Now, what I will say from watching the discussions on previous modules is that we're taking a while as a group to get wrapped up in those small discussions. So please, bias for action, try and front load your work this week. And I'm going to ask if you try and start by prioritising getting into some of those discussions. If you're somebody that prefers to read first and then add your thoughts second, that's fine too. But don't let that delay the kind of rich conversation that we have seen coming through towards the latter days in the week of those modules. And then finally, your other graded activity this week is your activity submission. So your ongoing project work that we get week on week. Now, you got some great feedback from the assessors. We've got a really strong bunch of assessors for this course. And I hope that you found the feedback really rich and insightful in your work. Common themes that we saw in the first activity submission, and I mentioned them a bit in my head tutor video last week, but just to reiterate, please remember your referencing. Please remember to keep your language sharp. So good sentence structuring on these assignments is your insight, your evidence or example for that insight, and then a reference. So really simple formula. If you can stick with it, you'll be able to get focused kind of executive communication rigor in a limited word count, and also show your reading, your insights, and your referencing back to the course material in the assignment. Good luck this week. Wonderful work from all of you. Keep it up, and I'll see you in the boards.